Morning people, welcome back to F Politics. Let's just run through Donald Trump's inauguration speech so we're all clear what we're getting into.
We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
So he is still sticking with his America First stance on trade, and given that in the past he has said,
when foreign governments extort unreasonably low prices from U.S. drug makers, Americans have to pay more. I have directed U.S. Trade Representative Bob Lighthizer to make fixing this injustice a top priority with every trading partner.
you should be absolutely clear that any trade deal that Keir Starmer tries to do with America will involve making our NHS pay more for drugs so that Americans pay less. And given that the NHS is already struggling, that is putting British lives at risk.
The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end.
So Donald Trump was convicted of several crimes. We saw it on the TV. We saw him urge those protesters to go to the Capitol. Justice was done. So when he talks about rebalancing justice, he's talking about skewing justice to work in his favor. Don't believe me? Later in the speech, he says this.
Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. Something I know something about.
So we have a president going into office with explicit plans to make the justice system work for him. We are already in criminal dictator territory. This next bit is kind of just funny because he's trying to criticize the Biden government, but he says this government, we have a government now. So given that he's just become the government, he's sort of technically criticizing himself.
We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home.
Again, he is the president now, so he's technically talking about himself. And what he's saying is true about himself, because when he was the president and we had the pandemic, he was saying that it might be a good idea to start injecting bleach,
while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad.
Yeah, it was Trump who originally announced the withdrawal from Afghanistan, so yeah, again.
It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens.
I mean, that could be about COVID or school shootings, but carry on.
But provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals.
Do you mean like giving Secret Service protection to a convicted felon and rapist?
My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals.
Betrayals, so like being stabbed in the back. The stab in the back myth is a propaganda tool with some pretty dangerous historic roots. And if you have a leader going into office with some personal axes to grind, that's never a good sign.
Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life.
That's what I've always worried about with the assassination attempt, that he would try and paint anybody that criticizes Trump as being on the side of the assassin, which is a great way to make all of his gun-toting fans act aggressively towards those on the left.
To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote.
Yeah, dude, black people did not support you. You might have got 12%, which is an increase on before, but it's still 12%. 86% voted the other way. What you just said is the electoral equivalent of I've got black friends.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
Okay, so the mass deportation thing is going ahead, so we're going to see families split apart, homes raided. Honestly, good luck, America.
We will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. We are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our treasury, coming from foreign sources.
This guy made it to the election still either not understanding tariffs or still believing that the majority of his supporters don't understand how tariffs work. They are paid by the company that buys the stuff from abroad, so American companies. So Trump will be increasing the amount that America has to pay to buy stuff from abroad, which will make inflation worse and increase the cost of living.
I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
Okay, that was just basically a message to Elon Musk, the owner of Twitter, saying, "Hey bro, I got you." Which is so comforting given that just before this speech, he was watching over the inauguration like a hungry vulture waiting for somebody to die.
I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
When right-wing people tell you to stop talking about race and say that they want things to be based on merit, while defending a situation where the top jobs and top professions are all dominated by rich white men, they are saying that those rich white men just deserved it better, that they were just better than everybody else. It just so happens that all the best people just happen to be rich white men. They want to pretend that racism and sexism don't exist so that they can pretend that they just deserve to be on the top spots. Donald Trump, who was given $1 million as a teenager, Elon Musk, whose dad was a rich landowner in apartheid South Africa, they both became millionaires because they just deserved it more than other people. That's what they mean by merit-based.
It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
When these people say this stuff, they make it so obvious that they're wrong because he means that there are only two sexes, not genders. Two sexes, but intersex people also exist. People whose chromosomes don't match their genitalia, or their genitalia doesn't fit into either category. So if he means sex, he's wrong. If he means gender, the social construct which is based on stereotypes about personality types, that's just a weird thing to say because personality types are literally a spectrum. These people never think this stuff through. It's like when they say they don't want trans women in female bathrooms because they were born as men, but by that logic, that means they want trans men in female bathrooms because they were born as women. So are right-wing people really saying they want people who look like men walking into female bathrooms? How do you plan to police that? Like I said, they never think this stuff through and it makes them look stupid.
This week I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay.
Anti-vaxxers, jump aboard! But this one about the history of America is honestly my favorite.
Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny.
These people bang on about respecting our history, but your story of your history is that you just ended slavery. Really? That's all you did. Like, can you imagine if you were committing a crime for 400 years, and then when you told the story of it all you said was that you stopped committing that crime and you wanted praise for it? Again, good luck, America.